Healthy Rebel Radio is sponsored by the Healthy Rebel app. 300 plus secretly healthy, delicious, mouth-watering dessert and treat recipes made with all-natural, whole food ingredients. Now available for download on the App Store and Google Play. Find out more details at healthyrebel.com.
Welcome to Healthy Rebel Radio. I'm your host, Dr. David Dyser. I'm here with my Damie Health, Healthy Rebel co-founder, Amy Lane. Good morning.
Good morning.
Just a few quick health and wellness stories to review today. We've got a really interesting one coming out of Thailand. I'm not sure if you saw this yet, but it's a new product developed by an ad agency in Bangkok. And it's called Absorb Plate. Did you hear this?
No.
So this is a new plate it's in development. It's probably coming out next year, and I don't think this is a gimmick. Now, I might be super naive to this.
Oh, no.
I know. This might be really sad, but this is all over the place, and it seems to be quite real. It's a plate that absorbs oil. So every meal you eat, if it's a greasy meal, it's going to absorb 30 calories worth of oil. So it doesn't seem like a lot in the short term, but in the long term, for people who are eating a lot of greasy foods, it's going to be absorbing 30 calories per...
This is the silliest thing I've ever heard. So it's just taking the concept of using a paper plate and paper towel and squishing grease off a pizza, and you're trying to sell me
That's exactly
that this
it.
is a great technology that saving 30 calories.
I never said it was great.
It's the silliest. This is so silly. Humans should be insulted by this is what really intelligent people are focused on.
8 years ago, I saw you pat a pizza with paper towel. Mm-hmm. Boom. You never need to do that again.
David. This is insulting to humanity.
I know.
That,
is.
That the most brilliant people in the world are like, okay, so people are so out of control with their eating, and they're such fatties that we're going to take 30 calories off their most fattening meals, and that's going to be something that generates income because people have no self-control.
You don't even have to think. You just put it on the plate. Boom, automatically 30 calories less.
I don't like this. If you want to reduce calories of a fattening meal, if that's your concern, take a piece of paper towel. If you're out of control of your own meal and you have to eat this thing. I just
can't picture a meal that's going to have this amount of grease that it's going to be.
Pizza, fried food, Kentucky Fried Chicken. There's nothing that would be healthy that would fall under the guise of let's reduce 30 calories in that.
No, and if you're having one of these meals, you're looking at 1,000 calories in one meal.
So what's the difference in reducing 30? It's actually the theory of taking the really fatty pizza and just the paper towel. I mean, it is kind of stupid.
It's funny.
Right?
It's funny. It's going to be, if they do make it, it'll be huge.
No, it won't.
Yes, it will.
No,
People
it won't.
will love it.
You're in such denial. It's silly. People are not this silly. They're just not.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I can't picture someone who's trying to be healthy eating a meal that's going to have this amount of grease.
Because here's the other thing.
Deciding to get this plate.
Say it's not a fattening meal and I'm adding coconut oil purposely to my vegetables.
Yeah, you want those calories.
I want that oil. I want that healthy fat. I want it for my eyes and my skin and my nails and my overall appearance.
It's true that type of fat you're looking to get in. You're looking to get it into.
This is so silly, and it makes me so upset that these are what the brilliant people of the world are focused on.
I don't know that they're the brilliant people of the world, but it's coming from a marketing agency, so I'm sure it's obviously a gimmick.
Oh, and I should clarify when I use the word fatties.
Yeah.
What I mean when I say that.
Please do.
So David and I. It's something we use of ourselves. It's like an endearing term. It doesn't have anything to do with BMI or actual physical, anybody physically. I would never look at a person and consider them skinny or fat or whatever. It's a mindset. So for David and I, if, say during the holidays, we get carried away in just consuming junk and all of a sudden we realize, oh my gosh, we haven't had a normal, healthy veggie meal in a long time. We call ourselves fatties. It's a mindset. It's not a physicality, and it's just something that makes us laugh and then shifts our perception and makes us put It's the same. We use oldies as a term too.
I didn't even hear you say it when we were talking.
I know, and now I have to clarify because I feel like people are going to be like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
We use the term oldies too, but oldies is what we use when David and I get into like habits that would be considered an 80-year-old's activity. Like when we like playing lawn bowling or things.
Skip-bo.
Skip-bo.
With black tea and croissant.
Yeah, like when we realize we're drinking black tea and playing like a game that we've only seen 90-year-old people, we call ourselves oldies, but they're both endearing terms and they're just funny and they're a way of shifting us into doing something a bit different.
Yeah. The second story, we have to talk about this. This is a story coming out of McGill. They were looking at prescribing in Quebec. And this is a huge study looking at 100,000 prescriptions, all for antidepressants, using electronic charting. What were the purposes for using the antidepressants? 50% of the time it wasn't for depression.
PMS?
Well, I believe that was one of them, but they were prescribed for insomnia, anxiety, IBS, pain, ADD, and migraines. Most of which have zero research for antidepressants to be effective in those categories. Now, the debate here is that these are symptoms in depression, some of them.
Right.
But the patients did not have a diagnosis of depression and were still getting antidepressants. So it's off-label prescribing, which is fine. There's lots of things that have great off-label prescribing for, and the reason being, it can be difficult to get certain conditions on label for a drug because that can be expensive and it's all processed. So there's lots of off-label prescribing, but off-label prescribing is often based on research. Do things work or not? I've got a problem with this because there's a lot of side effects to antidepressants. There's a lot of long-term consequences to taking antidepressants. But antidepressants are great in treating depression for a certain percentage of the population. In specifically ADD and migraines, there is no research for using an antidepressant to treat. Now, my approach is in these things that may be associated with mild or moderate depression, but the patient doesn't have a clear diagnosis, you want to be looking at treating the cause. Like, we can't just throw medications at symptoms when there's, like, literally no reason to.
But that's where we are. Not just with, that's where we are in everything with life. We are completely symptom-oriented. We don't understand the theory of what's going on underneath is what's going on the surface is an indicator of what's going on underneath.
It's true.
And really, these symptoms are usually blessings because they're trying to tell you to heal something.
Your body's telling you to look in a certain direction.
Right.
Now, I'm guilty of, probably all physicians are guilty of doing this off-label prescribing in certain ways to try and treat symptoms, try and make someone feel better in the moment. And that's good. We need to treat symptoms because we don't want people suffering.
No, you don't want suffering.
But in this case, looking at these symptoms, there's natural routes that are so much more effective than using an antidepressant.
Right, but the problem that I think a lot of, first of all, GPs aren't courted by natural remedies. They're not taught about them. But the other thing is they take commitment. And we have a real problem with our population right now not committing to solutions.
That's so true.
They just want to put a Band-Aid on it. Because a lot of things that are natural take consistency, commitment, and faith because it takes a few weeks to kick in.
Oh, and it's hard to talk to someone about commitment in 12 minutes. It's hard to go through these lifestyle changes that are going to be beneficial for your pain, your insomnia.
It's a symptom of a bigger thing that's going on in the world. And it's really unfortunate because, again, it's one of those things that I feel like is an insult to all of us brilliant adults that we are more capable. We don't need to be, handled in such a ridiculous way. We can commit to things. We can create change. We can heal, a lot of things that go on with our bodies. So, it's really on us.
Definitely.
Because, the doctors aren't going to all of a sudden stop getting funded by these billion-dollar drug companies. So.
For sure. If you're in the category of someone who's in the 50% of this group who's having an antidepressant for not depression, search out other wellness professionals who can give you some more time, can go through potential cause, can go through potential a physiological mechanism for the symptomology.
And go through and ask them for research-based treatments.
Yes.
You know? We're not talking about willy-nilly stuff here. We're talking about, research-based treatments.
Oh, completely agree. If we're looking at IBS, if we're looking at pain, if we're looking at insomnia, general anxiety disorder, there's many different reasons and different causes, right? So you can't just put a serotonin reuptake inhibitor. You can't just put something that's going to keep this one neurotransmitter around longer and think, okay, that's enough. Because it's not enough. It's not enough. I just think it's going to be a huge percentage of the population. I was reading the other article was from Time Magazine. I found this in 2 different places. Time Magazine was reporting on American statistics, and it's like 10% of the population is on antidepressants. Mm-hmm. That's a large number of people.
Yeah.
Wow.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
I was thinking that's a big number.
It doesn't surprise me. And, and it's not like, the other thing too, it's not these doctors that are villains either.
Of course not.
I was at a very young age prescribed an antidepressant for normal teenage PMS by a fabulous doctor.
Definitely. Off-label prescribing.
But it was a horrible and had terrible consequences. It was one of those drugs that ended up that everyone was taking, that these teens, in taking them, there was high suicide rates.
Yes.
And also it changes your brain chemistry, and it leads to, it doesn't matter as you're a teenager, but it can do, sexual dysfunction and,
Well, there's the side effects, most common, weight gain, nausea, constipation, memory loss, and fatigue. And that's what I see the most.
And then there's worse consequences when you do things like drink with these. Oh my goodness. Right, but people wouldn't tell you about sexual dysfunction. They wouldn't talk about it. No. And it is a consequence.
Absolutely. So that's, and just doing your best. Like, this is the toolkit they have. This is what comes out of the toolkit in certain circumstances where you're not sure what to do.
And someone came in and educated her that this is something that
this is great off-label use.
Yeah. And they, I'm sure, through numbers and whatever, and that's what she...
If you're in this category, you can come off these medications eventually. You just need to find the right support.
But don't just drop ever.
Absolutely not. No, definitely. The final story I have here today, and I really want to talk about this. I've had it on my list all week. This new study out of California, Berkeley, and you've seen the title.
What?
It's called, I believe it's called the Couples Study. They followed, it was somewhere between 150 and 200 people for quite a while, and ran them through many different assessments. They found that in arguments, the people in the relationships who got angry developed heart problems later in life. The people in the relationships who were stonewalled or retreat in an argument developed muscle pain, muscle tension, musculoskeletal issues later in life. Mm-hmm. And that's how their reactions in arguments or in conflict within a couple manifested into physical problems. I just thought that was so interesting.
Doesn't that seem like some of what's the basis of Chinese medicine too?
It is.
Because people that study Chinese medicine have said things like that to me. Mm-hmm. And it makes so much sense. So
it really does.
That's an ancient...
When you have, like, so in the anger category, you're talking about, like, a heart fire or a more of a hot condition, which we know has effects on the cardiovascular system. It has effects on the heart specifically. Mm-hmm. And anger is associated with liver, which also has connections to the heart in Chinese medicine. And then the pain or the stonewalling or retreating or shoving it down is a qi stagnation. It's an energy stagnation which turns into pain. That's how Chinese medicine explains it.
Which makes complete sense. Like, people that don't ever address how they feel, they take it on physically because you're holding on to it.
That's right.
I mean, all of that makes sense to me.
And if you're looking at physiologic mechanisms, we can talk about energy medicine. We can talk about how that makes absolute sense. Like, if you're thinking about this, if you retreat, you start to close up.
Or if you've ever been so angry that your chest hurts.
Yes. So in anger, we know there's, cortisol release. Stress hormones are going. Blood pressure goes up. Heart rate can rise. Mm-hmm. And of course, over time, high blood pressure, high heart rate, those can have impacts on the heart, cardiovascular system. In terms of they're retreating and the muscular tension, we know that physiologically the body wants to, in retreating, the body closes. There's a lot of closing that happens, and the muscles are shortened. Some are shortened and some are lengthened. And when they're shortened and lengthened, they fatigue. And they become painful and stiff. It's really interesting. And so they tracked these couples for quite a while. And they found that later in life, this is what they were suffering from.
So cool.
And the fix is
yeah, what's the fix, David?
This is the most important part, right?
Okay.
Recognizing where you are on the scale. Recognizing what side of the coin you're on. Because it's fine to be on either. I mean, we all have different ways of dealing. But you want to recognize where you are so you can practice becoming more centered and take care of the systems that might be affected better, right?
So, if you're on one side of it, you may want to express your feelings more.
If you're on the stonewall side, you might want to be more expressive and more open.
Just, letting it out may do a world of good. And then if you're overly angry, that's something you should probably address, that maybe...
You want to take care of your heart.
Well, you also want to be good and kind in a relationship. If you're being...
Oh, yeah, that goes without saying.
That level of angry, I mean, you're not serving your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You can't serve and be that kind of angry at the same time.
No, and we know if you make those changes, now you can have actual physical health benefits in the long run. Not only will your relationship be great or improved, but your heart will be healthier. I just thought it was great. You want to recognize where you are on the scale and make corrections to fix that.
Definitely.
That's Healthy Rebel Radio for today. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.
See you.
Healthy Rebel Radio is presented by the online health and wellness center, DamiHealth.com. Since 2009, Amy Lane has successfully coached thousands of women through her signature program, the Bikini Body Program. Join today to work exclusively with Amy to unveil your greatest yet to be from the inside out. Go to DamiHealth.com for more information.
Thank you for listening to Healthy Rebel Radio. Please connect with us on our community pages on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, all at the handle @DamiHealth. For weekly recipes, articles, and all our episodes straight to your inbox, join our newsletter at DamiHealth.com. You can find all the links discussed in today's episode in the show notes. Thank you for joining us, and see you tomorrow.